Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here as we explore the power of dialogue to create deeper human connections. In ancient Greece, philosopher Socrates engaged others in thoughtful discourse, not just to debate abstract ideas, but to form mutually enlightening bonds. Likewise, today we'll harness the Socratic method to take our relationships to more meaningful levels. By posing questions that invite vulnerability, empathy, and truth-seeking, we can transform superficial small talk into nourishing philosophical fellowship. Why make frivolous chatter about the weather when we can dive so much deeper? I'm excited to rediscover friendship through the Socratic lens with you. Let's begin. First, tell me something that's weighing on your mind or stirring your soul lately. The most transformative dialogues start by sharing honestly from the heart. For me, I've been reflecting a lot on how polarized society feels lately. It troubles me how even loved ones now see the world so differently. What about you? What concern, hope, or realization is bouncing around your mind these days? Thank you for opening up. With practiced courage to be vulnerable, we forge bonds of trust that help us weather life's storms together. Now, building on what you shared, here is a Socratic prompt for you. What assumptions might others have about this issue that prevent connection, and how can you reframe it to invite perspective-taking? Digging for empathy begets empathy. For example, with polarization, I assume there is some goodness in all perspectives. Reframing the USVZs, the mindset helps me listen for valid concerns beneath clashing views. What about your issue? How could you reframe it to inspire compassion over division? Our next Socratic sharing. Tell me about a time you felt seen, understood and accepted for who you truly are. The richest relationships nurture our full humanity. For me, that experience happened during heartfelt late-night chats with my college roommate. We could share our souls without judgment. When have you felt that free to be your true self with another? Let's exchange stories of authentic connection. Building on your memory, here's another Socratic prompt about what feeds the human spirit. What qualities and actions make you feel most seen, appreciated, and cared for in a relationship? Knowing these helps us actively cultivate bonds of affirmation. For me, quality time, physical touch, and words of encouragement make me blossom. Thoughtful questions, good humor, and earnest listening do too. What most makes you feel loved and accepted by others? Let's discover each other's emotional languages. Okay, next question. Who is a role model for how to live with compassion and wisdom? Exploring exemplars reveals our ideals and aspirations. For me, St. Francis of Assisi's love for all creation inspires my desire to practice boundless benevolence, who stirs your conscience and expands your moral imagination. We probe our heroes to unveil the virtues we hold most dear. Building on your role model, here's a Socratic prompt about purpose. What lesson or message from this person gives your life more meaning? Our inspirations point us toward what matters. For me, St. Francis showed me the dignity and beauty of all living things. His example gives my life purpose, to love Earth's creatures and tread gently. What lesson from your role model enriches your days with significance and direction? Shifting gears, tell me about a time you felt the transformative power of human connection. When have you experienced something bigger than yourself through a bond with others? Let's swap stories of relationship magic. For me, singing in harmony during summer camp worship as a kid gave me chills. Our voices blending opened my eyes to community. When have you felt part of something transcendent through the alchemy of friendship? Building on your example, here's our next Socratic question. What conditions and qualities fused people together in that powerful moment? Reflecting on peaks of unity reveals how to recreate that collective high. For me, it was the shared vulnerability of singing raw honesty in community. Common purpose and emotional risk bonded us deeply. What ingredients enabled that magical connection you described? Let's learn from extraordinary glimpses of togetherness. Great insight. Now, if you could have a long, deep discussion with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why? Our fantasy dialogue partners point to our curiosity and knowledge gaps. I'd love to sit down with Diogenes, the ancient Greek philosopher who rejected materialism and norms to follow his conscience. And you, what wisdom would your chosen conversation partner share? Expanding on your pick, here's our next Socratic prompt. What questions would you ask them to gain moral clarity and new perspective? If we could question anyone, what unknowns would we probe to guide our lives? I'd ask Diogenes how he found the courage to renounce societal status and live by his own code. What questions would you ask your chosen mentor to illuminate your path forward? Let's envision fantasy Socratic dialogues. We're on a roll. So tell me, when do you feel most alive and authentic? Finding peak states reveals core interests and values. For me, dancing with reckless abandon gets me out of my head and into my body. When do you feel fully self-expressed and engaged? Let's learn each other's modes of being our truest selves. Digging deeper, here's another Socratic prompt. What conditions enable you to show up as your best and realest self? Understanding these helps us recreate them. For me, it's letting loose where I feel safe and free from judgment. What gets you into your flow? By naming our ingredients for authenticity, we can stir them into life more often. It's almost there, just a few more thoughtful exchanges. Tell me, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Exploring our aspirational selves is fertile ground for growth. For me, I'd love to be more extroverted and comfortable in big groups. What about you? What personal quality would you develop if you could? This glimpse of our someday selves pulls us forward. Building on that, our second to last Socratic question is, what steps could you take to cultivate those qualities you seek? Envisioning our best selves makes pathways for progress. To be more extroverted, I could push myself to make conversation with strangers and practice public speaking. How could you actively nurture the traits you long to grow? Let's water our aspirational seeds. Final question. What are you proudest of in your life so far? Pride in our achievements fertilizes further blossoming. I'm proud that I left a stable job to pursue my passion as a writer. Risking comfort for meaning took courage. What are your proudest moments and acts of self-actualization so far? Let's reinforce and reflect on our life highlights. Wow, we covered so much ground together. Thank you for engaging these Socratic prompts with openness, honesty, and care. Our authentic sharing nourishes a bond of trust and mutual uplift. Keep questioning, my friend, listening with empathy, speaking with courage, and connecting with compassion. This is the heart of human friendship, climbing life's mountains, one thoughtful step at a time, with fellow travelers by our side. Till next time,